Our portable class library is ready to start using SQLite. It is already referencing the packages needed to start using SQLite. It has also changed the app constructor so it receives a string for the database path from Android and from iOS. And from those two platforms, we're also already sending that location. The next thing that we need is to start implementing the functionality. Now, before being able to insert and read into the database, we need to know what we are going to be inserting. So we're going to need the model. The model is basically going to be classes, and each class is going to represent one table inside of the database. So let's go ahead and define a class. You've already defined classes before, so this is going to be very easy. But we do want to take a look at one simple thing that is going to be needed for us to use these classes with SQLite. So inside of our travel record app portable project, let's right click on it and add first a new folder. I'm going to call it model, simply because the model classes are going to be defined inside of it. And then inside of this folder, I am going to add a new class. The class that we will need is going to contain that travel info. This application is going to be displaying the history of travels from the user. The user is going to be posting their experiences on the app. So maybe this application can be called post. And now that we have the post class, the first thing that we have to do is make this public, because remember that in C# by default, the access modifier is set to private, and we do want to use this class from outside of this namespace. So we set it to public, and the next thing that we need is to define its members. Now right now, the only thing that we need is to set some properties. Each of the properties is going to be a column inside of the table. So the table is going to be the post table, and each of the properties inside of this class is going to be one column inside of the table. And right now, we only need two columns. First, we're going to define a property that is going to be string and simply is going to be the experience, which is what the user is going to describe about the travel. And later on, we may add some location information about where the user had this experience. But right now, this is everything needed, at least when it comes to what we are going to be requesting for the user and displaying inside of the interface. But for us to be able to use this class inside of SQLite, we do need another property, and that is an integer ID property. So the ID property is going to allow us to identify one element from another inside of this table. So this ID will become the primary key of this table and will act as the identifier, simply allowing to differentiate from one element to the other. And we're going to set it as an integer because it's the default type that SQLite works with when setting identifiers. And so this is the basic definition of the first model that we need, the post class. It's going to have that ID and it's going to have the experience. But the definition of the model is not yet ready. We still have to take a look at how we can set this ID to be the primary key. Right now, there's no way SQLite knows about this. In the next lecture, we're going to take a look at how to do it by talking about SQLite attributes.